Sweden is broadly a social democratic country, but not unlike Scotland in terms of population reach, geographically perhaps more challenged actually than Scotland, particularly in terms of climate. But they have had a lot of debate about how education should be delivered, and they've adopted a range of different models, including community participation in running schools. Finland is regarded almost with awe in Europe as having delivered educational excellence. A lot of political parties are talking about Finland. But when you hear Finns talking about education, they're not entirely certain how this has happened. They think there's a unique mix of things that they put in that works well, but they also have some criticisms of their own system. One thing that's always quoted is that to become a teacher in Finland is quite difficult. You actually have to have the highest academic qualifications. It's highly selective. All teachers, including primary teachers, have master's degrees. Now, I'm not suggesting these are models that we should automatically follow, but it is interesting that the respect for the teaching profession in Finland is very high indeed. We want to know why that is and how that fits into the system.
But Mike, having been to Sweden and Finland, here's a couple of things.
Right.
It's standard across Scandinavia that you don't go to school till 6 at the earliest.
Yes.
Are you thinking about that?
Well, I'm thinking about everything, but there are some strong reasons for not doing that. I mean, our model has never been based upon that. We have a different model. It's very important to say, if I thought, or anybody thought, that I was going to go to Sweden and Finland, pick up a ready-made new education model, bring it back and say, there it is, right? That would be foolish. What I want to do, because there are very good things in Scottish education, which we need to celebrate and get more of, there are some things that don't work that we need to change. And the purpose of learning for others is to find out what works for them and to see whether it's applicable here.
But let's look at that starting at 6, because what I'm trying to say, I suggest, is that you can't cherry pick. The Scandinavian education system has a great kindergarten system from 0 till 6, which is what allows parents to defer education till 6 because they don't need to put them into
kindergarten. We have a very good primary system, particularly in the early primary, right? There's no doubt about it. All our assessments show it's really working. It's getting better with curriculum for excellence, right? Now that's not to say there aren't things that need to change. One of the great problems about, I mean, as ever talking about going to see things abroad, what you're really doing is talking about yourselves. One of the great problems of Scottish education is this. The debate tends to be at the extremes. There are those who say, everything is dreadful, we must change it all, let's go and get a system somewhere else and drop it in here. And you hear it, it looks out of the border, they say, oh well, let's go and do those things. There are others who say, everything is perfect, all we need is a tiny tweak here and there.
Well, happily, you've got nobody of either complexion in the room, Mike.
What we need to do is to think about all the components and to see if things don't work, how they get better. A good example, a good example is curriculum for excellence, right? We've got this issue of something that suits us, but was developed because of the problems we had in Scotland, and I was there when it was being developed. Now what we need to do is to get that right. Can we get bits of that better by learning how other people deliver their curriculum? It's possible. One of the things I want to look at.
Right. So the next thing that seems to be characteristic of the Finns and the Swedes is that once the kids get to school at the age of 6 or 7, they stay in school till 15 without an 11 plus, without a change of school. So 7 to 15 is what they call primary. At 15, they then have a bit of triage, and kids go to either vocational or academic for 2 years and follow those routes.
They also have some specialist schools, some language schools, specialist language schools and specialist other schools. In Finland particularly, they don't do external assessment. They don't let, as I heard somebody say last week, very memorable at a conference, they don't let teaching get in the way of learning.
And listen, answer the question. The point is, would you consider something like that, because they are taking it over this problematic 11, 12-year-old divide? You've known me for a very long time. I will consider lots of things. In fact, I'm very open to ideas. What I won't do is narrow that down by saying that's the one I'm going for, because just to be honest about this, journalists will then say, write a piece that says schools in Scotland are going to not open until the age of 6. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about in Scotland is get the things that are good better, get the things that aren't good up to standard, and we can learn from other people how we do that. But I'm not opening or closing my mind to any particular aspect. There are issues, of course, for example, in terms of 6-year education, where there is a correspondence between what pupils can learn in their 6th year, what they will learn in their early years at university if they go on to university, what they may learn at college. We need to learn from others about how that becomes much more seamless than it is. There are examples elsewhere in the world we can look at. We can also think ourselves how that would work for us. So I'm going with an open mind. I'm going to listen to what people say to me. I hope I'm going to engage with some of the people who not only support what's happening in Finland and Sweden, but are also critical of it, because there are people within that system. Not everybody's wandering around with a smile on their face saying this is perfect.
people saying these things don't work. A lot of people are interested in what we're doing. For example, I know that there will be a lot of discussion of curriculum for excellence because there's a lot of feeling it's the right thing to do, and we're doing it essentially better and earlier than other people. So we'll have those discussions. I will come back. I'm happy to talk about what I've learned. I will hope to talk to other people, and I hope in the process we'll continue the process of looking about how we deliver Scottish education.
Okay, 2 last questions. One is, can you explain what the Curriculum for Excellence is in 30 seconds?
Yes, the Curriculum for Excellence is a means by which young people will learn more about the world they live in a more relevant fashion. They will join up the subjects that you and I used to do separately in a way that helps them to make the connections they need in the modern world. It is a broader and deeper method of education that should produce better results for the 21st century.
Right, I did promise only 2, so I won't follow that up, tempting as it is. The other thing is Scotland Nordic? Should we join the Nordic?
Well, that's a great debate. I think that my party has argued that we should orientate ourselves north, and I think that there is a case for being part of a wider grouping of Nordic nations. That doesn't mean cutting ourselves off from other groupings as well. One of the most interesting experiences I had in recent years, I went to the Faroe Islands, spoke at a conference in the Faroe Islands in 2003. I was very offended by that, and I saw the great similarities between ourselves, a range of people. And since then I've been in Sweden once, I've been in Denmark several times, I've never been to Finland before, I'm looking forward to it. And I think anybody from Scotland does feel there are correspondences.